Welcome back, lazy gamers. Today we will take a look at the latest release for ARA History Untold and try a playthrough. We will highlight some of the differences introduced this release and hopefully learn new things. But first, I want to touch upon how I've been making videos. Largely, these have been straight gameplay videos for the most part. When important or if it might be interesting, I might dive deeper into game features and provide a guide of sorts. But basically, all I'm doing is thinking out loud and really just talking to myself. I want this video to be a bit different. Some of you may have been playing the game for a while now, but many are very new to the game. I want to start this playthrough with an overall explanation of the game features, the win condition, and tips to get better as we dive into the gameplay. My intention is to help new players and hope many of you find this useful and gets you one step closer to the one more turn trap. Many of you may already be familiar with the Civilization games, Humankind, the Anno series of games, maybe even Industry Giant. ARA History Untold will feel familiar if you have played those games, but it's different enough that it might be in its own niche. Some parts will feel Civ-like with supply chain system borrowed from Anno and Industry Giant. At its core, just like the Civ games, this feels and plays like a board game on steroids. So let's set up a game and walk through it all. It's a lot and there is much to cover. At the start screen before you choose to start a game, click on settings and let's talk through some of these. The tutorial can be silenced, which if you're new to the game, you probably want to leave it on. There are settings for the camera settings, autosave settings, which is you can leave them as defaults. Towards the bottom here, there are some that are actually impactful. Allow citizens to self-supply means that improvements that need supplies get auto-slotted, so you don't have to worry about micromanaging. You could do the same thing for amenities, which I've left it off. I think this is the default though. But leaving this off just gives me the control to pick which amenities I actually want. And the adaptive AI is probably one of the strongest aspects in this release, where depending on how well your game is going, the AI will scale up or scale down its difficulty. It's interesting. I don't have too much experience with this particular feature, but it looks like the AI does a decent job of countering your gameplay. There is also a setting for turn blocking notifications and you can turn them on or off, which I think just leave them as defaults. And I hoped that there would be more turn blocking options here, but I think this is fine. Let's talk about the leaders for a second. When you pick a leader to play as, each leader has a unique ability. Like Pachacuti here has the Andean Masonry, where Pachacuti gets more influence after winning a war. Plus, he gets a buff in production in the capital for every land force he commands. Similarly, Irene of the Byzantine Empire, she generates a very tiny influence, but actually it's quite strong because during a golden age, if she's spreading her religion, it actually magnifies quite a bit into really large amounts of influence. And the same thing for wealth. And Harun al-Rashid, as long as you have research agreements in place, you get a higher chance to earn paragons. Paragons are like great people from the Civ games. Plus, he gets more research in the capital for 20 turns after a paragon is gained. Pretty useful. Along with the main trait that a leader has, they will also have a list of shared traits like charismatic, lavish, traditional, and innovative. Now, in this case, charismatic gives you 1 golden age point for every trade agreement and research agreement. Now, there will be other leaders who share this charismatic trait. Like, there you go. You go on soon can share the charismatic trait too. But like these traits here, essentially they are not unique to the leader and the civilization. They are actually something that leader gets, but some other leaders might be getting it too. These traits like charismatic, lavish are uniquely specific to one kind of play you might want to undertake. But the magic sauce is really in how you would use the combinations to best benefit you. Introduced with this release, each civilization also gets a unique unit. Depending on the civilization, the unique unit may come into play in Act 1, 2 or 3. So it might pay to understand what all the unique units for all the civs are, since you might just be next to a neighbor with an edge with their unique unit. The appearance tab here is purely cosmetic. Just changes the look of the leader, and I hope in the future this is used to add more depth to the game. I am going to pick a random leader here, so we can talk about specifics while we're in game. The next screen is the game setup, and if you're starting out new with this game, just leave everything to defaults. But know that there are choices you can make here that impact the game. Things like difficulty, map type. You can also choose your opponents and their respective difficulty level. You can adjust the number of players in the game, essentially starting with a crowded field or not. Under advanced settings, probably the most impactful setting is act culling. If you leave it on, you can get culled, meaning you won't make it to the next stage if you don't have enough prestige. For beginners, leave it off or on AI only. You can start directly in the later acts too, but I don't have too much experience with this particular setting. As you get comfortable with the game, definitely try changing things around and see if it helps your gameplay. If you have picked your own leader, you have probably gone over the traits the leader and the civ have. But since I have picked random, let's click on this leader screen here and go over the traits. We are Wilma Mankiller here of the Cherokee, and her main trait is the word for water, which is plus 10 health in each city for each active alliance, and plus 2 culture per paragon in all cities when all paragons are tasked. So the wording here is a little interesting. I'm not sure whether if you have all the possible slots that paragons can hold, if all of them are slotted, then you get the culture, or if all the paragons you have earned are, if any of them is idle, you don't get it. If none of them are idle, then you would get the culture. I'm not sure exactly what that wording means, but that's fine. We'll find out in game. Independent is plus 3 housing in non-cap cities, which is pretty useful to get your secondary cities growing faster. Sage cities gain 5 culture for each science improvement building in them, which means prioritizing science buildings is going to be a plus for Wilma. It will gain us the extra culture. Charitable, this might be a nerf, but you start with negative prosperity in your capital, or less prosperity in the capital than what your difficulty is set at, but you get a higher paragon spawn chance for each city you control. Okay, so we want to go as wide as we possibly can and try to control multiple cities and try to spread our empire out. Anyways, on the info view here, you get a snapshot of who your allies are, who you may be at war with, what your war weariness is, what era you are in, what your religion looks like, and what kind of armies you may have. It's, again, I find this useful pretty much to look over the modifiers for the leader I'm playing. But beyond that, I rarely end up coming back to the screen. The standing screen, however, is pretty useful. It gives you a count of what your current prestige is. We are all at 0 since we are just starting out. But this drop down here, you can click on it and essentially find. This screen gives you a ranking for all the civs based on different criteria. I think prestige is probably the most important one here. The statistics screen here gives you, while we're in game, we'll probably come back to this page and take a look. It gives you a real-time graph of how things are changing for you. Whether it's prestige, whether you are flattened out in your prestige accumulation, or whether if you choose, let's say military strength, is your military strength getting better or worse overall? Same with population. All things kind of matter in the long run, but if you're starting out, you can probably look over and see what's going on, but there is information here that can be useful as you get more comfortable with the game. And prestige, the last tab here, it pretty much gives you a breakdown of what all is happening in your game that is earning you the prestige. So for example, right, if you just are moving through the technology tree, you're going to generate prestige. If you are fighting wars, winning wars, even losing wars, you are gaining prestige. How many alliances you have and what kind of alliances and relations you have will gain you prestige. Similarly, all the industry buildings, like setting up your workshops and your crafting industries, is going to give you prestige. The easiest way to gain large chunks of prestige is to build triumphs, which are really like world wonders. Alright, so we are in game here, and by default, you always get your first city already settled in place, and you don't have to decide where your turn 1 decision is not going to be where to settle. You already have a city in place, and that's where you start, and you can see pretty much the bordering regions around you. Now, in this specific case, this is not the best. This is probably a slightly below average start based on what I see. For a number of reasons here. We do not see any resources around us. right? Typically, you would see grain or maybe some foxes or some other resources, but we don't see anything else here. So this may not be an easy game overall. Also, our main city region is a 3 food, 3 timber, 2 materials, and a 3 gold region, which again is not the best. If you zoom in a little closer, you can actually tell how many areas there are in here in this region. So these are the zones. So this is a 4-zone region with 3 food and 3 timber. Yeah, not the best of starts, but we will figure a way around it. Let's really quickly go through the UI here. The top bar here tells you like food, gold, timber, and material counts. It tells you how much you have and how much you're generating per turn. This last one here, the scroll, that's the influence meter. It's a new currency introduced with this release. And what that does is, as long as you accumulate them, you can spend it for specific cultural acquisitions. I'll come to that in a second. But these tabs here, this one is the government view. It tells you what government you are at. The city cap 1 of 3 tells you that you can build up to 3 cities at this level. As you play on, as you make other buildings and as you move through the governments, this cap will keep going up, so you can end up putting down more cities. But right now, that's where we are. The second tab is the religion tab. It tells you once you found a religion, it'll give you details on what your religion looks like. The third one is for paragons, which are the great people. The fourth one here, that's the nation culture, which essentially is what the influence is used for. So as you accumulate the influence, let's say you get to 50, you will be able to claim a land tile next to it. Now, as the city grows, right now it's at 1 population, and it'll eventually organically grow to 2, 3, 4 population. And that will let you grab land around you. But you can also, in addition to that organic growth that you see, you'll also be able to grab land with using influence as a currency. And alternatively, you can also use that currency to actually get like fixed buffs, which pretty much last you for the rest of the game. Like in this case here, +2 golden age progress per turn is actually quite good. Because if you look at the bottom here, you see this bar is completely empty right now. But as you accumulate golden age points, this bar will kind of start filling up. And once it reaches the end, you are basically in a golden age. So yeah, so basically if you had the 50 influence to spend right now, and if you unlock this, you are going to earn golden ages faster. Now, Wilma specifically does not get any benefits from golden ages. Her benefits are more geared towards paragons and alliances. So we want to try and be as friendly as possible and try to gain as many paragons as possible and lean into science actually eventually and try to go as wide as we can. And that's kind of the play style, that kind of the play that Wilma will succeed at. At the bottom here, the only forces we have right now is our single scout, but in time we will have a bigger force, and you can manage that through this tab here. At the bottom, it tells you what your limits are. 0 or 5 means you can have up to 5 land forces, 1 sea force, and obviously since we're in the ancient era, no air force. But yeah, and the city cap is again repeated here. The last tab here is a list of cities. It's a city kind of an overview screen. And really, the main thing here is, it gives you the numbers, the raw numbers of what your city is producing. When you see this red alert here, it means that city needs your attention. So every once in a while, get into a habit of clicking on this and looking it over. In this case, this attention is simply that the city is not producing anything. It's idle. Sometimes when, I believe if your amenities are not plugged in, it'll pop up. Every once in a while, if the city is not growing or its growth stalled, that will pop up. So just, yeah, keep an eye on it. On the right here, like this gives you your count of reserves. Reserves, so the way you build units is every unit you build is not automatically brought into play. It goes into reserves. So let's say you build 2 archers and 2 spearmen. They will go into a reserve pool, and once they are there, then you can deploy them into a formation or just by themselves and have them brought into play or on the game board, so to speak. But yeah, this gives you a list or a count of all the ones you have built and ready for your use. These two tabs here, or these two icons here, one is resources and one is goods. So resources are things that are on the map that you end up harvesting. So food, material, and timber are the baseline 1, 2, 3 things. But typically, if you have grain or if you have limestone, that will pop up and show up here. Now, if you use the grain to make bread, that bread is going to show in the goods you have produced. And anything that you have constructed and produced is going to show up in this list here. Right now, we have nothing. This is the research tab, and right now it's telling us that we have 5 research per turn, which is pretty much standard at this point. This is pretty useful. That's the Encarta. It's the in-game help. Pretty much everything that I'm covering here is covered to some degree or the other. And there's a good wealth of information right here at your fingertips. That's your menu screen, and that's your technology screen, which actually will unlock in 2 turns. So we'll get there in a second. These tabs here, 5 tabs, they tell you, the first one here tells you your act goals. Right now we have none. This is your economy screen, which gives you a list of all the things that you have across your empire and how you can, and gives you options to manage them. The inventory tab is just that, a list of inventory, and you can sort them by different type and subtype. Masterpieces are the great works that you create. Typically, Paragon creates them in the cities where it's slotted. And the last is diplomacy, where it gives you a list of all the nations and tribes that you have met and gives you a snapshot of where your relationship stands. Similarly with the agreements with everyone else. On the right here, this is like the notifications area, where there will be a trail of notifications here as we go through the game. There are a couple of overlays here. I've left everything at default. Pretty much all of these are useful, but you can choose to turn them on or off depending on what you're most comfortable with. Like, I like to leave the yields on simply because I really like to see what I'm getting from the land around me. And at the bottom here, yeah, pretty much we are in Act 1, we are in Ancient History, and this is turn 1. So let's click on the City Idle turn blocking notification, and we are into our city screen. So this is the city UI, and you can choose what's the next thing we are building. On the right here, you can see all the different zones that you control. Right now, we just control one zone, or rather one region containing 4 zones. And we already have a Great Hearth plugged in. It is pretty much like the center of the city right now. If you hover over it, you can see that on its own, the Great Hearth gives you some buffs. It gives you city housing, strength to forces. The 5 research that we are getting here is actually coming from the Great Hearth directly. It gives you city production, and actually it gives you a city cap. So the baseline city cap for every civilization is 2, and the Great Hearth makes it 3, which is why you have the ability to put down 3 cities on the outset early in the game. On the left here, the first tab here, or the first information piece here, it tells you how quickly you are growing to the next level. So you are at 1 population right now. You will grow to 2 population in 12 turns. When you grow to 2 population, you will get an option to grow to 1 more region. And the more regions you control, the more things you can build on them and exploit them, and either craft industry, farms, etc. The overview here tells you what your city is producing right now. And really, if you think about it, really like growth, production, science, and influence, these are all functions of the quality of life stats in the city. So there are 6 quality of life stats. There used to be 5, but a new one, the culture, has been added as part of this release. The higher the happiness, can drive more production. Health works the same way for growth. Knowledge works the same way for research per turn. Prosperity for the gold that you have. Security is interesting. Security is, if you have high security and if you build military units, that those military units are overall stronger than if they were if the city's security was lower. So may not be as important or urgent in the early game regardless of difficulty, but it's pretty important to make sure that your security is not too bad or is high enough that you can support a strong military, especially in the mid game onwards, and more so if you have a neighbor that's up to shenanigans. And culture is the new quality of life stat, and the more culture you have, the more influence you'll generate, which you can spend on, which you can use as its own currency. Now, two things here. If you click on the Great Hearth itself, you are in the buildings view, and most buildings, not all of them, but most buildings actually have a list of supplies that you can plug in. So in this case, the Great Hearth here has 4 slots. Each slot has a unique list of things that you can plug in here. Right now we don't have any of these, but when we have them, they should get plugged in automatically based on our game settings. But you could choose to move things around or unlink them too if you want. But the more supplies you have, the faster your Great Hearth is going to make things. Now in this case here, we are making 5 feasts, or we want to make up to 5 feasts. Right now, I'm going to make sure that at least make the first feast as fast as I can, which is going to be in 2 turns. What's new with this release is a priority mechanism for crafting things. So let's say if I do this, right? What does this mean? I mean, I have a queue of things. I will be making feasts. I will be plugging the feast as an amenity in my cities. Maybe if I have other cities, I'll be plugging them in. What this priority list is set at is, if I have 5 feasts or more, then do not make any feasts. Go and make some jewels. If I have less than 5 feasts, continue making the feasts until the number is 5, and else fall back to what's down in the list. So often you will run into a situation where if you already had 5 feasts and 5 jewels, your Great Hearth is basically going to be idle. And that's okay. You're really not spending anything extra here to construct. But every once in a while, you want to make sure that you have a good amount of things already built and ready for your use. So you can adjust this number up or down. In this case, let's say we keep it at 10 feasts. This Great Hearth is going to make feasts until I have 10 of them, and then it'll drop back or fall over into making jewels, in which case I'm not plugging anything. It's a 1 every 56 turns in this case. This mechanism is very new, is new in this release, and it might take a while to get used to if you are if you're familiar with, if you have been playing the game for a while. But if you're new to the game, just know that whatever number shows up here is the amount that you're capping the limit at. That's all you got to know. Right now, we don't have any amenities available, so we can't plug anything else in here. But in 2 turns, the moment when we have our first feast, we will be plugging it in there. So this feast here, as an amenity, it will give me 3 more food, 25 city growth, and 10 happiness. And that's what amenities does. So all amenities in some form or fashion are going to start improving your quality of life stats. But it's going to be disjointed, where in this case, yeah, we will have happiness, but not others. So as your city grows, you will get more amenity slots. So you want to have amenities that are actually balancing out, that are balancing essentially what your quality of life stat needs are. So just have to keep an eye out for that. In this case, since prosperity is already dimmed for Wilma's ability, it might make sense to plan for plugging jewels as a second amenity, because jewels give you 15 happiness and 10 prosperity, which actually can be quite good. What is the first thing we want to be building? There is really no wrong answer here. You can, if you feel like this start specifically might be a little growth challenged. So yeah, I mean, if you are not planning on the feast, maybe going for an early farm or a workshop would be perfectly okay. But in this case, I'm going to lean more either into a spearman or a scout. Maybe start off with a scout first. Maybe even get 2 of them, depending on how much land we have around us to explore. Because the scout is a very, very good unit to start off with. What scouts do, there's a twofold, and they're actually expensive to build too compared to what the spearman is. Spearman, the military units are actually cheaper in contrast to what a scout costs. The scout here costs 75 gold and 50 materials, while a spearman is only 15 materials. But the scouts are far more useful, I think, in the early game than a military unit. Because when you see these resource caches, there will be other equipment caches. And there's one more. There are 3 kind of caches that you can see on the map. And the scouts are the only unit at this point that can grab these. So you can actually click on the scout and give it an order to go and grab this. So what will happen is, I'm going to talk about orders here. Unlike other games, when you're in a turn, things don't actually conclude while you're in the turn. All you pretty much do is you give the order. So in this case, we have given the scout to order to travel to this region for this one turn. So the moment I hit next turn, the scout's going to be in this region here. And then the next order is going to be to grab the resource cache, which will actually execute the next turn, and so on and so forth. Just have to be cognizant that the same mechanic works for military units and for everything else, all other things that are moving around on the map. So it does make fighting and battle and combat a little strange in the beginning. It's not hard, but it takes a while to get used to. Right, since we are in the next turn, we have an option. We have the choice to pick a technology. Now I'm looking around the map here and we do not see anything here. So I'm going to go with animal husbandry, because pretty much if there are any camels, horses, elephants, cattle, or sheep, or goats, or live hogs, the game will reveal that. Funny enough, that's how at least an elephant should have been, you should be able to spot an elephant. But we are researching animal husbandry. It will take 15 turns to research. And while that is going on, it's going to take us 8 turns to build the scout. And we will just try to walk around the scout and do things. You also see wild animals on the map. And if you hover over them, it tells you how dangerous they are and how many hunts are required to clear them. Now these scouts can hunt. They can actually clear out this cougar or this black bear that we see. And actually, when they do plunder and give things like leather and maybe some food or some other things that go back to your city once those predators are cleared. But since this release, if you use a military unit to clear these guys, that is not a scout, you do not get the plunder from clearing. It will clear the animal out, but it will not give you the rewards. So the scouts really, like I said, there is a twofold ability. One is gathering all these resource caches that you see, and one is clearing these animals, especially if you want the rewards associated with them. But we'll grab this cache and then we'll try and kill this cougar, and you can probably see what exactly happens. So we collected this stash here. And we have collected 2 food oil, 2 furs, and 2 sculpting materials. Useful, but really inconsequential as of this point. So the next order I'm going to give this guy is to go and clear out this cougar. Alright. So while this guy is dealing with the cougar, we have met a tribe. You were the first to discover the Trier. So there are these interesting clues that you can kind of get on the map, right? Every region has a name, right? So if you, like in this case this region is called Kituva, which is pretty much our capital, right? And there used to be a region view tab here in the prior releases. We don't have that anymore. I'm trying to figure out if there is a way to tell what the name of this region is. Let's see. Yeah, it doesn't show me there. Okay. So we can plug in. Our first feast is ready. In fact, I think it was ready like maybe more than a turn ago, but we forgot to plug it in. The moment I've plugged it in, my growth meter is actually shortened because, yeah, the amenity gives me more food, more city growth, and more happiness. So, yeah, I think the opportunity cost of delaying amenities the moment you have them is quite large if you don't plug it in. But I was saying that Trier, I think Trier is a city in Germany, right? I believe so. So I'm willing to bet that one of either Hildegard or Bismarck is somewhere in this area. All right. There is one more turn of hunt, and that should clear the cougar. Now, if you notice, if you look at the scout has lost some health, and that's perfectly normal. It will clear the predator out, but there are some predators that are actually 3 hunt predators, especially like tigers. Tigers can be a bit of a pain in the ass actually, but they require 3 hunts, and you could very easily lose the scout if you try to take it out all in one go. So depending on what your health is, take your time to heal the unit before you end up clearing the predators. It's just one of those things that I pretty much say it every time, but I forget about it pretty much every time, and I lose too many units clearing out animals. Right, here you go. So we cleared the predator, and the benefit we got from that is, come on, we got 1 fur, 1 feast, and 10 food. All right, that's actually useful. I think I'm going to just leave this guy in place and heal him. Right. Now we are 2 turns away from finishing the scout. Now, you do have the option of rush buying the scout. I have 43 gold with me. I could spend 18 of that and get the scout 1 turn early. But I'm thinking a little ahead here. I will be generating 119, 122, and 125 in 3 turns, in 2 turns, where if I allow the scout to complete naturally, I will be at 125 food. And 125 food is the exact amount of food I need to build a settler. So I think if I don't rush build here, I can actually start work on my settler ASAP. So I think I will not spend the gold here. Alright. Okay, so we are growing. Claim generated means that the city has leveled up, and we have an option to grow to a new region. I haven't unlocked animal husbandry yet, so I don't know which regions may have horses or cattle and other things. So I just want, the 2 things I want this early in the game is a region with a lot of zones. So this is a 5 region zone, or a 5 zone region. That's also a 5 zone region. These 2 are 5 zone regions. So yeah, any one of these 4 I would pick, but this is the only one with 4 food on it. So I think I'm going to pick this one. Alternatively, I could actually go with the 3, but the 3, yeah, I don't think so, because if this was a 3 food, 3 timber, 3 material kind of a situation, I would probably be more inclined to pick this one. But this is actually fine. These 3 here, in fact maybe not this one, but these 2, They are 3 timber regions. So one of these blocks, one of these areas would be, I think at some point in the early game, I will be putting down a logging camp or two. And these areas would be, I have a feeling that these are going to be the next ones I grow to. It all depends on how the resources reveal themselves. But for now, I'm going to go with this one. And next turn, we will have that. Again, think of the order mechanism. You have selected to grow to this one, but the growth isn't complete until you roll into the next turn. There you go. We have finished our scout. And, come on. We are 1 food shy. Okay, fair enough. Let's build a workshop then. And this new scout can pick up that equipment cache or resource cache. And you... Actually, these wolves are 1 hunt things. So actually I can just... yeah, that scout will be fine. He's strong enough to clear out those 2 wolves, and we'll heal him after. Right. So we have a bunch of caches here. Here you go. That was a good spot to grow into because we have limestone near us. And limestone is very important, especially if you want some of the early wonders. So yeah, that just pretty much settles it. Depending on what animal husbandry unlocks, I'm most likely going to try and grow to this one as when I have the ability. But since I have the food now, after the workshop, I'm going to queue up a settler. And in fact, I don't need the workshop as urgently right now, so I'm going to move the settler up and try and prioritize it earlier or get it before I build the workshop. Right, we picked up... What did we pick up? We picked up 1 syrup and 10 food. Okay. And this guy has cleared out 1 of those wolves. Let's take a close-up view here. The animations are interesting, but the graphic and the details are quite amazing. The game is beautiful. Definitely. Alright, let's grab this one now. Alright. You can grab this resource. Cache. And you will grab it here. Another syrup and food. That's good. You can grab that next. I will have a settler in 6 turns. So, okay. Which I have a feel... I want to... just taking a high level view of how this land looks like. I see a cluster of 4 food regions to the south of my capital. So I think the city somewhere in this vicinity is going to be good. Now, since this release, you actually can see how many regions there are in this, in every zone, or how many zones there are in the region. So this is a 4-zone region. That's also a 4-zone region. If there is a 5-zone region, I will definitely would love to pick it. There is no exact science here, but I try to settle my cities at least 3 hops away. So like this border here means I can jump to this area in 1 turn. Similarly, I can grow to this area in in 2 hops, but going here is like 4 hops, because this actually is, there is no way for that to cross this diagonal. I would either settle here, or maybe somewhere in the interior here, one of these, or maybe even to the south. They look like they're all 4 zone areas, or at least the ones I want to settle. Unlike Civ 6, there is no such thing as a coastal settle. Every city can be a coastal settle with a dock and a lighthouse and stuff. I think the absolute yields on what the region shows you is far more important than actually the location of where you're settling. I mean, this tile here, or this region would have been a great spot, but there are only 3 zones here, so I'm not going to be settling here. Yeah, I have a feeling it's going to be one of these two that I want to settle. Okay. You can clear that out. And then you can go down and grab this. Yeah, that's an equipment cache. It will we are going to get like a plow, or like a lithic tool, or maybe even a wheel if you're lucky. Right, let's go here. Next turn we will be unlocking animal husbandry, and that should give us a good idea of how our land truly is. Oh, good God. So, no horses, no cattle, no pigs. This is not going to be an easy game, I think. Alright, so I would go for grain storage if I had some grain around me, because I would love to prioritize a granary. We will be growing to this limestone, so I think I'm going to go pottery here, because pottery allows me to put down stone bits that can harvest the limestone. And we have an event. So in-game events are things that give you certain things. So, okay. So this event, so we met one more tribe here. So let's see. We were the first to discover the Chautauqua. Alright. That means there is no one else up here. And since we were the first ones to mid-trier, if there is a neighbor, they are not too close to this area. That's fine. That's actually good. So this event was triggered by the new tribe we just met. And I mean, you can read through the text and kind of the immersive quality of what the quest is, or what the choices are. But really, this is all I'm focused on. We have 3 options to take. In the first option, we lose 5 happiness, but we gain 1 relationship with Chautauqua. In the other, we gain happiness, but we lose a relationship. So like essentially the inverse of the other. And in the third option, we get a bunch of gold, but we lose relationships. Now, what does the relationship mean? It means that, so this tribe here, I think there are 2 points into this tribe. At 3, I think is the midway point. So if we were to get this all the way to 6, then this tribe will essentially get absorbed into our empire. But if it drops down to 0, then it's pretty much all the units here are going to chase our units. It will become an enemy tribe, and there is no way, once that happens, there is no way to turn them positive. So we still have, we can afford to lose 1 point into them, but not any more. And if it does, then we better have a military ready to take that camp out. So both options are available to us, but the choices in front of us are either trade happiness for the relationship. Really, when we trade happiness, we are trading production. We will be reducing production. So I'm not very inclined to do this. But on the contrary, we can spend that 1 point that we can afford to lose and gain happiness for 5 turns, or gain the gold. I'm leaning to one of these here, because at this point, I do not want to, even if it's for 5 turns, I don't want to lose my happiness, which will actually reduce my production. So just let's take a look and see what our production, what our happiness is. We are at 60 right now, which gives us a 40% city production. Which means we are at 12. And I think, yeah, we will lose one production a turn, I think, if we take that for 5 turns, which actually is not bad. We can always buy the settler out right now. Okay, I think I'm going to try and befriend that city state, take this hit, and see if we can move this guy along. The other tribe here, Trier, is already at the halfway point. So let's see. Let's see what quests they give us. All right. Yeah, I was meaning to touch upon this, but yeah, let's talk about the acts themselves, the eras and its impacts. I mean, the game literally plays in 3 acts, right? Each act is divided into multiple eras. You start in Act 1 in ancient history, and you progress through the eras, eventually the acts themselves. At the end of the first 2 acts, depending on your game settings, you or some of the AI civs might not make it to the next act. And to make it to the next act, you just need to collect the prestige, and that's the goal. It's really important to think of prestige as a simple score system based on how you play the game. And yeah, whether you progress to the next era or not is dependent on how much prestige you collect. And we will get into the ways that you can get prestige. But in a nutshell, just playing the game will accumulate you the prestige you need. Yeah, let's go and check out our standings here. Yeah, we are last, but not too far behind. This is Duke difficulty, so it tends to be a little easier than Grand Duke and above. There are very, very few games at Grand Duke where I have managed to not get culled at the end of Act 1. But it's fairly easy to do it at Duke difficulty. Our population is not bad overall, and nobody has a religion yet. That's good. And we are all in the same era. Yeah, it's early in the game. I don't think any civ has an edge overall. And here you go. Well, basically the same graphical view of everything. So if you notice here, this graph alone pretty much says that the prestige we are accumulating, we are actually falling slowly behind. So we got to do something to make sure either we catch up or leapfrog some of these AI civs. And putting down cities and building things, getting the workshop up is going to be important. Yeah, let's grab this. Right. So we have resource stashes, resource cache, equipment cache, and ruins cache. And typically in things like this, we find like candles and wine and things which could help. We found one lithic tool, which if it's not, yeah, it's already automatically slotted in our great hearth. Now lithic tools themselves will give us 25% craft production and 50% harvest production. But generally speaking, ropes and wheels are better because they give you 50%. Yeah, gears are strong. Gears are the best here. Gears will give you 100% craft production. Yeah, even though the game auto slots these things, always take a look and see if there is a better way you can rearrange your supplies. And looks like we have our first paragon. So our choice is between an engineer, a strategist, and a pioneer. It really depends on your game, but I think engineers, scientists, and writers are probably the best or the better options to pick from. Strategists are good if you're looking for early combat, or if early combat is going to be thrust upon you. So it tends to be useful there. Pioneers are, I think, probably the weakest of the lot here. They do help your scouts and settlers move faster, but it's such a situationally temporary thing that it really doesn't mean that much. Although a pioneer as a chief advisor with 10% growth is probably not bad. But as long as we have growth amenities, I think we are fine. We don't have to worry about this much this yet. So I'm definitely not picking a pioneer. And here, between an engineer and a strategist, um, do I care about force strength this early? I don't even have a military yet. I might have one soon enough, but I think right now the better value is taking Imhotep and plugging him as a chief advisor. And maybe down the line, when we are ready to build some wonders, we can slot him as a domestic advisor. So I'm going to pick him and plug him here. Our settler is ready. Yeah, definitely. Let's see where the game is telling us we should settle. Yeah, these. Yeah, the game's telling us settle in these two spots, but this is just. Don't do it. I mean, yeah, don't do that. I think there should be a rule. There needs to be a rule where settling options should not be within 2 tiles or two regions away or 2 hops away from an existing city. I think that just needs to be a rule somewhere. But I am leaning towards maybe one of these spots here. Now let's see. If I pick this spot, I do have options to grow to other strong 4 food tiles. I can even go 1 tile south here. But I think this is fine. This is good enough. Alright, let's clear the sky. And we picked up a ceramic pot. Okay. One thing I should have done earlier. I had maxed out my feast production. I already have like 7 of them. But the thing is, I don't need to make them this fast. I can actually save some gold here and still get the feasts ready in time. Because now, since I've done that, I'm just about even. I'm producing 0.2 feasts a turn and I'm consuming 0.2 feasts a turn, which is basically, this number is going to hold steady, which really means that I'm not never going to be constructing jewels. So just in case if I do want to plug in jewels as a second amenity, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the jewels up. I'm going to set this to 1. Make sure I always have 1 jewelry ready. And I will max it out. Okay, I do have that, but it's only going to be for 1 turn. And use materials, I guess. Yeah, get 1 jewel in our bank and then continue with the feasts. I think that's going to be okay. Because if I do end up using this jewelry as a second amenity, then I can probably make 1 more and so forth. That's fine. Alright, let's grab that. And we'll clear these bears. The unit leveled up. Yep. I think the experience makes the unit stronger and more resilient to dying. More resilient overall. But the scouts are really not a combat unit anyways, so... Picked up some food. That's fine, I'll have this in 1 turn. Alright. New city. So the new city here, we already are close to getting the feasts we want. So but let's do this. Let's leave this empty. We can spend the gold, so it's 1 every 5 turns. And we'll plug in the feast here. Okay. And yeah, we are finishing the workshop there. We will be growing in 7 turns. So still a ways to go. And this guy here, I think, should make some military. Yeah, this is a fixed event. This is unchanged from before this release. When you settle your first city, you get an option to boost a one-time thing for one of these stats. Either knowledge, happiness, or security. I think we'll pick happiness here because that's going to help production overall. Yep. It was 50 turns for the spearman, but now it's 12 turns. Just helps the city get its things faster. And we have a neighbor very close to us. I think, can't tell who this is though. But we do have a neighbor very close to us. I have a feeling it's going to be Germany, so let's go and meet them. Okay, let's take out this bear. Yep, it is Charlemagne. Okay, so yeah, Trier. I was thinking it's Germany, either Bismarck or Hildegard, but it's really Charlemagne. And Charlemagne is not really a fun neighbor, so we will need a military. Yeah, we will need a military. I think I'll have to take Amsterdam and make sure Amsterdam becomes a military center. Right. Forest Fort. This is also unchanged from prior releases. You get 5 lithic tools and 5 baskets, but you have to give up either happiness or security. In this case, it's for 10 turns, and I'm going to give up the security. Okay, let's scout this way. Make sure let's try to get a sense of how much land we actually have. Right, so the workshop's complete. The only things we can build here are lithic tools and baskets and plows. Plows are actually hard to build because, like, unless you have cattle, horses, camels, iron, or you can use lithic tools to make plows, but that just feels wasteful. Because all you get is a 200% buff. I don't know. I don't need plows yet, so I'm not going to worry about it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to queue up lithic tools and baskets in a priority stack. Take this number up to 10. I might end up increasing this eventually. I'm going to max out the timber and the material needs for them and leave it at that. Eventually, when we unlock more things to build, I will slot in whatever that is below this, so that once I have 10 lithic tools and 10 baskets, it can build something else. But for now, this is all I need. So I'll leave it at that. We need to get to rope making as soon as possible. And I think rope making is available at weaving. The number of techs and what the techs give you has changed by quite a bit actually in this release. And things have moved around, and yep, ropes are very important, but they unlock in the next era. So it's going to be a while before we have them. I think one more settler, maybe to go north. All right, since we have that claim, we're going to pick up this. And after that settler, in 2 turns, I'll be putting down stone pits on these 2 tiles. So really, since both these are going to be stone pits, I'm going to put 2 ceramic shops here. At least 1 to start with. I don't need 2 right now, but I'll need at least 1. And Amsterdam has grown. This is 1 extra gold here. But I'm going to pick this. I do not want him, Charlemagne, grabbing tiles right next to my city. Okay. That is a good area. Okay. I think come back, heal, and we will grab that stash. Okay, pottery is complete. Come back and heal. I think I'm gonna go for archery next. Okay, Chatavga, if I give him materials, he's gonna give me 2 lithic tools and 1 relationship. That's not bad. Or I can take a swordsman from him, which is extremely tempting. I think I'm gonna do that. That basically saves me one thing I don't need to make since I have the swordsman. Okay, so we have an act goal now to build the Acropolis, and the Acropolis unlocks with universities. And universities, I believe it unlocks here. Yeah, in the high medieval. So it's gonna be a while. But we do have an act goal for it. Typically, the act goal is if you try to play or follow along the path of what the act goal is suggesting, you do get a chance to maximize your prestige. Because if we build it, normally we would have gotten 100 prestige, but we would get 150 now because that is one of our implicit goals. So Wilma gets 10 health in each city for each active alliance. Is there a chance we can ally Charlemagne? Let's see. We can try to offer him something. Could try offering him 2 feasts, maybe. Let's see. He accepted. That's good. And it hasn't moved the needle by much. Okay. So much for that. You can heal. Actually, grab it and then heal. Timber and furs. Okay. Don't mind one more spearman here. Yep. So this 2 here says that we have 2 things in our reserves. Same thing here. Tells me I have 2 things in my reserves. If I click on that, I see a screen where I can deploy. Right now, all I can do is deploy them. I can deploy them in a 3-unit formation, but I can only deploy battalion, like this default battalion formation with 1 cavalry, 1 infantry, and 1 projectile. So I mean, an archer would slot there, so I can't really do that. But once I have archery, I'll have the option to form a wedge, which is 2 projectiles and 1 melee infantry. And that is probably what I'll end up doing. Alright. At full strength. Let's go in this direction. Alright, 2 turns for the settler to complete. And we can buy him with gold for, yeah, reasonably cheap. And I'm going to queue up the stone pits I need. I'm going to just make 1 stone pit and 1 ceramic shop right now. Because I have a feeling I'll need to make some other stuff before I end up getting the second limestone online. We have grains and okay, so that's a very good farming block. And I think I will be growing to that next. Okay. So which direction do I want to settle? I think I want to go somewhere and towards the mountains here. But I don't think yeah, not there. Actually, let's go to this tile here and we can take a look. And you can grab that. Event. So Trier has given us a... We can take a hit on production in all cities or knowledge in all cities and get the positive influence. Or we can get 5% will production and take the negative. In this case, I think I'm going to give up the knowledge here. That's fine. We are at 4. Basically, if I get a 2 influence event, this tribe is going to join Amsterdam. Amsterdam's going to grow. I'll probably end up getting more tiles around it. My influence counter is at 11 now. It's going to take a while before my influence goes to 50. But if it does, and if this area is still available, I'm very tempted to influence by that area. Let's see. Alright, archery is complete. That's a weird split. There are only 2 zones here. One really tiny zone and one huge zone. Yeah, it's not a good spot to settle though. Let's go here. Okay. We will be growing to that. So I want grain storage for sure. I think, yeah, we don't actually even have that grapes here. Let's get grain storage here. But it's quite likely that I will pick one more tech before we move to bronze working. Okay, that's not a bad spot. Because I do want to grow to this copper. Yeah, let's do it. A new tribe. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Oh, damn it. Yeah. Yeah, you can do that too. So this city, what should I do here? It's gonna be a while before the city is really useful. But you can build a dwelling for now. I don't have any farms. If I had some, this would have been a good option, but I think I'm gonna still pick it because I don't want to turn... I don't want to turn him into an outright enemy just yet. Okay, we got a bunch of good things. 2 furs, 2 statuaries, and 20 wealth. Okay. And we met one more tribe. Zarahun. Alright. And Amsterdam is going to build... I want to get... I've queued up 4 archers here. At least 3. At least. So my material count is running low. Yep. I have 3 of those. Let's hold them in reserves for now. And Zirahuan, if I give them some wealth, that's fine. That is perfectly fine. Okay. Okay. That's fine. Yeah, we've got to pick that. And let's buy that ceramic shop. Alright. Copper now. And that dwelling can wait. Next turn I will start working on the copper. Okay. That is actually a fantastic block. I am going to put down 2 farms and a granary. Yeah, next turn I'll be able to put it down. And we have our second slot ready. I think I could plug in baskets here. Baskets do give me prosperity. But this gives me prosperity and happiness. Well, the baskets give me city production, which is always useful. Maybe I will plug in both eventually. Let's do that. Yeah, that's fine. But I'm going to keep a high number here because we will need pots for a lot of different things. Alright, grain storage is done and there is someone else there. So just for a reference point, we are like, as far as amenities is concerned, we have the ability to make baskets, feasts and jewels. And we are doing that right now. I think we'll do that like that. We will spend a lot of gold, but we will definitely always have 1 jewelry in reserves. But yeah, but what I was saying is we have the ability to make 3 amenities, but not a 4th one. So we have room for 2 more growth cycles till before we need a 4th amenity in place. So herbalism right now would be great, but I'm not going to be building an apothecary very soon. Same with fermenting. I think I can jump to bronze working right now. And let's go ahead and meet whoever that is. I think it's Ethiopia. It's either Ethiopia or Ghana. Let's see. Oh no, Mexico. Benito Juarez. I'm not going to worry about him. He's far enough that we don't have to deal with him just yet. I think anything stupid happens, it's going to happen from Charlemagne. Okay. I think a fourth city. Yeah, I'm not sure where I would be putting the fourth city down. That's fine. All right. So now we have 50 influence, slightly more than that. So we can go to our nation culture screen and we have either the option of grabbing land or we can pick one of these guys here. +2 to all quality of life stats in all cities is not bad. Yeah, it will be a while before I'm conquering any cities for the 20 golden age points, but the writer pick chance would be interesting, but again, it's a little early in the game for me to be leaning into writers. So I think I'm going to pick that, civic balance. So we have spent 50 of our accumulated influence for that trait. And since we have spent that, if we go and look at our cities, yeah, everything is up just a tad bit. I don't think it's big to a point where it's tangible or it has a tangible impact. But I think, yeah, every little bit helps. I think I'm going to set you on auto explore. The thing with auto explorers will not go ahead and kill predators, but they will definitely keep going and grabbing resource stashes, which is fine. I think I'm good with it. All right. I'm 4 turns away from bronze working. Bronze working is going to give me a city cap, so I'm going to start working on a settler here. Oh, come on, dude. Okay. Alternatively, I do unlock city walls. I get 20 food is not really important, but I'm pretty much guaranteeing that there's going to be some sort of war if I pick this option. But it only makes sense if I can build city walls in that city now. I think I'm going to do it. Having the option to build walls early is not a problem, although my security is not great. I would have loved to have had a watchtower built here. Let's see. 47 turns. That's a lot. But I'm going to queue it up. And also do that. And I think finish one archer. And then... yeah. Finish that. Yeah. Finish that archer, get the walls, get the watchtower, and I think I'm going to deploy something here, just in case. So one thing that I've got caught in or trapped by is if I decide to deploy stuff in the city, it's a city has 52 security. That's 52. The capital is 47. So I will be deploying the unit either here or here, in Amsterdam or in Watagi. But if my deployment is not complete in Amsterdam, and if I get war decked by Charlemagne and he occupies any of this region, my units will never deploy. So with that in mind, I'm going to make sure my deployment happens in this faraway city. And really all I'm doing right now is hoping. Yeah, I'm going to pick the wedge formation, but he's out of place, but that's fine. We'll deploy him and we'll bring him into Amsterdam. And 47 turns is a lot. Okay. I could have waited one turn to deploy, but that's fine. We can always reform them and change their composition. Okay. Looks like so far all he has is scouts next to him. This is like a sure signal there's going to be war. So do I buy some time? No, let's do it. If he's going to attack, let him attack. Right, bronze working's done. I do want to get to sacred rites to build an altar for a religion, but I want to get weaving first because we want to get ropes. And we have a paragon and a couple of things I could do here. Entrepreneur is decent. It does, a domestic advisor does help me for prosperity, especially in my capital, which is kind of sucking right now. Or I could take a profit here and plug him as a cultural advisor. He will get 50% bill production towards religion improvements. That's actually quite useful. But I think in lieu of both these, I think I'm going to pick strategist because I have a feeling I might need to augment one of my forces with a strategist for the 25% strength. So let's do that. And yeah, let's see. I should task him. So let's wait for this unit to come out and then we will slot him in. Okay. The unit's out. So Sun Tzu, there you go. There you go. Okay, I don't see a force that is coming my way. Let's see. He's targeting Amsterdam. Okay. So hopefully what we have is good enough. Well, there's a good chance that we may need to deploy the rest of our forces too. Okay. I need one more spearman. Or, no, archer. Let's get that out first. In fact, I'm gonna buy it. Okay. So this is the event that gets us a free tech. We don't have any horses. So that's kind of puts it at a handicap of sorts. So going for wheel may not be... Yeah, may not be right. Trading or irrigation. I think... I mean, this is more net science. So I think if I want to maximize my science use, I think going for trading is fine. But trading by itself doesn't give me anything immediately. It gives me the bakery and trade goods. That's fine. Let's just do it. We will take irrigation when the time comes. I think that's fine. Another wedge. But this is a complete wedge. Let's deploy it. Okay, he's sending something, but I don't think it's going to be strong enough for him to take the city out. We might just be okay. Yeah, we'll be fine. Oh, sweet. 50 gold gets us... Yeah, that tribe's going to join one of my cities. I think it's going to be... It might be the city up here in the north. And we have our second act goal to build the pyramids of Giza, which might be possible. Alright. We have a superior force, but there is a good chance that he will send here. He has a much stronger block coming right behind. Okay, there's nothing down there. Let's go here. Okay. So Atagi might have a claim soon. Alright. So we just have 2 land forces right now. And we have a capacity for 8. And if the AI also has a similar capacity, I should expect that there will be a lot more units coming down. So maybe right after this settler, I just need to crank out more units. I think... yeah, at least 2 more. Queue them up. And the city has a claim. And the second amenity in this city, you're not stressed for prosperity as much as the other one. I think baskets are okay, but jewels are actually good. Yeah, let's do it. Our capital can always make more jewels. We have met Ostish, the Crow Nation, right? She tends to be friendly in most of my games, even like if she's right on my borders, she does tend to be friendly. Let's see. Can I strike some sort of a deal with her? Not yet. Let me try to offer her a gift. Don't want to give up my pots just yet. But actually I can afford to. Yeah, it's fine. Let's see what she does. Now, one thing that I've noticed with this patch is settlers, scouts can actually engage settlers and definitely could create a problem. Right now the scouts can attack the cities or they can't pillage or do anything else, but they can definitely mess with this guy. So I'll try and send him somewhere. Yeah, maybe... Actually, yeah, let's come south. These elephants will actually be pretty useful. Let's see. I don't want to settle right there. It's a 3-zone region. That's 4, that's 4. But I think that's fine. I think let's settle there. Okay. Let's see. Will she take a trade agreement? And the capital has a claim. Fishes are actually not bad. The problem with growing to the fish is it gives you a bunch of gold, and you can actually get like a butchery industry going. But what I need is a high region zone with a lot of stuff on it, like this one here. 2, 3, 2, 4 is good. That's 2, 4, but it's a 2-zone region, so probably better to put a wonder on this one. But that's not bad. Let's do it. Okay, the city is not growing. Stagnated from a shortfall in food. Okay, usually I see this. Yeah, it is capped at growth. It needs a dwelling for sure, but I think I'm gonna wait for a dwelling until later. But I do have my first expert, and this first expert by default will go into my great hearth, and my great hearth is challenged right now. Okay, but yeah, let's plug it in because that the first expert in the great hearth actually is definitely very useful. And this guy, I think the force that is in the city is fine for now. I think maybe you should just go and make sure there is no one else messing in the capital. Alright, she accepted. That's good. I have 2 merchants. And whatever I choose here, we can make use of. So I think the amenities by themselves are not as important. But I think stocking up on metal ingots would be good. And maybe wine is fine too, because the wine can become a supply in the great hearth. And eventually we'll probably flip us swap wine for something else up here. But that's okay. That's good. Okay. Right, weaving's done. Now, Pyramids of Giza is... I need ropes for it. Okay. So let's go back to the capital here. And go to the workshop. We have 10 baskets and 10 lithic tools, so this workshop is practically idle. Let's buy that. So we will swap in for ropes, and let's say we are making 15 ropes. The challenge here is we do not have things that make this go faster. But use materials and use timber. That's fine. Okay. And we'll definitely try to build the Pyramids of Giza, and it will need 10 ropes that we don't have and 8 more ceramic pots, which we will have very soon. But we also want to build the palace, which is actually a pretty strong building to build in the capital, in the city center. Even if you don't build it in the capital, whichever city you build it in, try building it in the city center, because you get +5 bonus to all quality of life stats. Just pretty useful thing to have. But this one again needs 10 more ropes and 8 more ceramic pots. So I think, and it needs gold. So I think we should be fine on all those fronts. But it's not like, yeah, there are common needs for both of these. So I think we get stuck for masonry now, and we will see how we want to plan that. Okay. Maybe you should just stay fortified there. I don't know where those guys went. Yeah, I think they ran away. There's one guy right there, but I'm not going to chase it. In a situation like this, not having cavalry is a big problem. I really wish that the game makes it easier to build cavalry without outright horses. But hopefully, with elephants down here, it's going to take a while for these elephants to come online. But hopefully, that will secure us in the near term or in the medium term. Because we can build elephant units, but there is someone else down here. I think that's Ostish, I believe. So we are sort of squeezed for land. In fact, it looks like... Oh, that's his capital. Oh. Okay. I should most definitely try and take the capital out. So really, I ended up forward settling him. No wonder he's mad. But I mean, if I don't forward settle him, I generally don't have too much land, which... It's fine. I think war is the answer here. Event. 40 relationship is fine. Let's see if we can ally with you. Okay. I think just stay in this vicinity, because I don't want any stray unit to mess with that settler. And this wedge can fortify right now. Yeah, he's sending one more block. One metal ingot for... That's fine. We can afford it. Right. Now, this event... So I can trade happiness for 4 strength. Or I can trade security for happiness, but it's a 20 turn change. Or I can trade 4 strength for security for 20 turns. I will be deploying a few units here, so that's fine. I'm going to be on the defensive for the next 20 turns, so it's okay. And we are last, yeah. I mean, this is Duke difficulty, so it should not have been this bad, at least, but I think we are falling behind because we're not able to focus on simming. I think it's very important in the early game to be allowed to sim a little bit at least before you have to go full on into war. I don't have sight on the city, and I think I'm going to use the scout to get that. Just see where... how much actual strength he has. Right, so this has... Okay, so I do have copper now. That's good. I think I'm gonna get... let's see. We can build Stonehenge in this spot. It's a 2-zone region, ideal for a wonder, and I don't mind trying for it. But before I do that, the city needs to be growing a little bit more. Yeah, so Wilma's secondary cities, non-capital cities, get a housing bonus. And I think because I built the dwelling, I think my housing needs are going to be fine in the city for a long time. So I should really just focus on getting quality of life stats up here. But more than anything else, this city needs a military. Well, let's do that. It's fine. We are so well below our force cap right now that I think building some units now is not a bad idea. Because I think in time, maybe... I don't think it'll happen in the next 26 turns, but I will make play for his capital. If he gets walls up, then I will need siegecraft, and that will delay that much later. Okay, let's take a peek. This is a new city. You shall start with feasts. And yeah, I think that's fine. We have grain now, so that's good. And we have a lot of grain, so I think I can leave it like that. And we have spices too, so maybe save on some gold. That's fine. A second workshop maybe in the said city center. Not a bad idea, but I don't need it. At least just yet. I think an archer is fine. We will need military. Happiness in all cities for 30 turns I think is better because it'll... Happiness literally means production. Where the hell is he going? Let's see. And his capital is undefended. Should I make a play for it though? Yeah, let's try it. I don't expect this to succeed. I mean, it's let's move you in. Oh, he has a 46 strength thing in here. Yeah, he will not be able to survive. Fall back. And this guy can't retreat, but you can run away. Alright, masonry is done. Let's get sacred rites, and then we will see if there is anything else. I think I might need to get the wheel if I'm gonna get my ivory online or elephants online. But sacred rites will net me my religion. But is that important right now? I can always wait for the later era text to unlock a religion. The altar actually is a very strong building. Because yeah, the religion is like this, the byproduct or the side quest really of that, but you really get one research per turn, which actually amounts to a lot in the long run. If you have like 5 cities with 5 altars, that is actually 5 research per turn. Considering we are at 20 right now, if you add 5 to this, that is literally 25% of the total research that we're generating. It's a lot. So I don't want to lose the opportunity to get a religion, get build altars, and getting to sacred rites. But the wheel is something we will have to get. I think we can leave code of laws behind, and sales definitely. I think we can leave it behind. Unfortunately, a code of laws is actually a very strong amenity, but I don't need an extra amenity just yet. My capital isn't growing, and when it does, I will need another amenity, and I think I'll have enough time to think of something when that time comes. All right, you need to chase this guy out. Okay, let's get sacred rites first. And Watagi. Wait, I need to make sure who is highest security right now. 72 security here. 57, 62, 72 is the highest. So we will deploy it in the city. And you can use baskets. That's fine. And let's see. Another battalion. Another wedge. I will deploy it. And he already has, I mean, whatever, yeah, he has 2 things in here. And he's at 89 strength. So there is no way. I don't think I can take this city though with the forces I have. I will literally need to double my forces to have a chance. And I only have 23 turns. I don't think that's happening. Yeah, you can fortify. He's like sending a steady stream of those weak forces up north. Yeah, that's fine. So we have already killed one unit group here. Let's take a quick look at our prestige. So on the military side, we have gotten 75 prestige because of those defeated units, or the units we defeated. We do have a standing army that gives us a prestige score, and it definitely helps. But not as much as other things here. Like for example, government, we already have, because we raised our quality of life stats, our number is really high, and it'll only get better as the game goes on. So hopefully I can get all these groups, prestige groups, to the same kind of number. And maybe that'll help. Yeah. But yeah, culture and religion is 0 right now, and science is barely registering. But if you look at our standings, I think everyone's in the Bronze Age, and I'm fully expecting not being the first civ to make it past the Bronze Age. The next stage is the Iron Age, and it's gonna take, yeah. Here's the thing. We are researching sacred rites right now, and I'm pretty sure I will be getting the wheel. But if I chose not to get the wheel here, I might be the first one entering the next era, but I don't think I have that luxury right now. Okay, we are gonna take care of him. And let's see where he goes. He might want to try and augment that, but I have another force mustering. Actually, I do have another force mustering, so I can. Yeah, maybe you should run an intercept course. Right, let's go to the ivory. You have another 53 group here. Yeah, it looks like Charlemagne has a military bigger than mine. Okay. Let's see. I think he's trying to plunder that camp. Which he might very well succeed. Alright, so who is 72 again is better. Let's deploy one more wedge. And now the city, I think granary right there. And maybe an altar, a weaver here eventually. Let's get that one up first. Okay. Let's see. Will he take an... He may not take an alliance, but let's see. Okay. Oh, so she thinks of him as a rival. That's good. Why is Trier hostile? I don't know. If Trier is hostile, I'm gonna plunder it. Alright. Oh, I don't have any more merchants. That's fine. We might need to overproduce a few things, but that should be fine. 5. So usually, like, I tend to take this, but we are like 2 steps away from absorbing this tribe into our empire, and we kind of get halfway there by this, and I do get 5 health for 20 turns. I think that's okay. Yeah, she's bombarding us. Let's step back. See what they do. Alright, Sacred Rites is done. Let's go back to the capital here, and we'll place down an altar right there. And I'll place down the weaver too. But since I can build the palace, I think I want to get the palace out ASAP. And let's get the wheel, and then we will jump. Okay, that's fine. How many units are mustering for me? Oh, I think, yeah, this is already deployed. It's fine. Okay, you should heal up. Actually, it's fine. Let's auto explore with you. I don't think I'll be able to get any more intel than what I already have. I mean, the intel we have is Charlemagne does have a reasonably strong army, and we will have to get very close to our force cap to have a chance of actually taking him out. But I don't think it's not going to happen in 14 turns while this war ends. Event, security or happiness. I'm going to choose happiness here. And yeah, you can actually fortify. Okay. 27. Let's bombard you first. Okay, let's claim that. More copper is never a bad thing, and you also have an expert, which generally going into a stone pit is fine. You get 1 city build production plus faster copper. Faster copper is never a bad thing. So one side effect of actually having copper and having the means to make copper is if you're making lithic tools, you can actually slot in copper to make faster lithic tools. We don't need any anymore because we're already at 10 or actually more right now. But yeah, when we do, it will be done faster. I'll try to buy this palace as soon as I can. And we met Copernicus. Right. So just like an overview of how the map looks like. I think we forward settled him. I think, yeah, we have. I think, yeah, Charlemagne has his land is squeezed. And to be honest, if any of the other civs declares war on him, it just might give us an opening to take out Aachen. Well, that'll probably be much later. Okay. So you're healed. I think you should come down. What the hell? Okay. I think that's fine. Oh, you have 2 claims. Interesting. I'm not sure why, but I'll take it. And an expert who really doesn't have too many options here, so that's fine. Which means, let's take a look at this guy. He is make feasts and we already... Yeah, we will be at 5 feasts soon enough. I think as a backup, you should work on festivals. And I really cannot speed this up. Actually, only with spice. So that's a very slow production, but it's fine. Like I need a either salted fish or cured meats or bread. And possibly some fabric, tea leaves, flowers. Festivals are good. Festivals as an amenity are actually like a supercharged version of feasts. Like feasts give you 3 food, 25 city growth and 10 happiness. While the festival gives you 50 city growth, 15 city happiness and 10 city food, which is oodles better than what the feast provides. But of course it's harder to make. And you need a complicated supply chain to actually make it happen. Which we don't. But we're going to get our walls up next turn, so... Some consolation, because I don't think he has or he will have any siegecraft just yet. Event. You want materials for... I don't mind that. I want to ally with you. Let's do it. Alright, wheels is done. I'm going to leave Code of Laws and Sales behind and jump to ironworking. We do need more workshops. Seems to indicate as if my guys are losing here. It feels like it, but I think we are... looks like we do have the better combination, but I don't know. Sometimes like the information provided is... feels like, yeah, okay, here you go. So if you zoom out, you can see that we have 57 strength fighting 36 strength. But if you zoom in, you kind of see this, and this is just weird. Yeah. Yes, there is, I mean, yeah, this is the UI, or some of these elements I think still need a little bit of DLC. And yeah, it's fine. Okay. You could put down one more stone pit here to get more copper. But I think I'm gonna get my walls up. Actually, no, let's see. Can I build the wonder here? I will be able to very soon. But let's get a workshop here. I think I need another. I need like at least 3 more workshops before we. Not 3. Total of 3 workshops while you are somewhere in the Iron Age. I think gives me a good. Creates a good balance of options. But yeah, but with this release, you don't need as many workshops as you needed back, like how the game used to be in the early days. Like you literally, like in the beginning, I would pretty much sometimes build dedicated workshops that are only doing one thing and rarely switch them into something else. Okay, one more wedge, but let's see. Is Amsterdam still the best city? Not anymore. 47, 52, 52. The capital is better, slightly. So let's do it in the capital. All right. And we have another paragon. Epicurus as a chief advisor wouldn't be bad. We already have the +2, so this +3 would not be bad at all. The prophet would not be. Actually, the prophet's actually not bad as a cultural advisor now. I don't mind that. Or we can take him, Epicurus, as a foreign advisor and just bump up our relationship with the others. That could also be useful, settling or trying to make allies. Before we pick this guy, let's see. Maybe Mexico. Oh, I can't do a research agreement until I'm in the Iron Age, so that's fine. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, let's take the prophet and plug him as a cultural advisor. That helps me build my altars a little faster. Okay. I might need to assist here. That city has walls, so I think I'm fine for now. I don't think we are as far as tech is concerned, no one has advanced to a point where they have siegecraft. So we are okay. And we met Canada. John McDonald. Alright. So have we met everyone now? Yeah, hold on. I don't remember how many players I slotted into the game. But if it is 6 is usually the default for the size of the map. But I think I have more though. I think I did slot more civs than the 6 default ones. Okay. You can use that rope, use that grain, and that's fine. I want to save my ceramic pots. Okay. So my palace is built. And now I'm working on my altar. And I will need a dwelling here. And I think I need to get the dwelling before I get the weaver. Alright, event. Okay, so I just need 1 point here. I could give him food and get 2. But I'm getting the 10 prestige for that and 1 relationship. I think that's fine. Let's do it. Why are they on fire? Someone's trying to kill them. Okay, hopefully the tribe joins me before they die. And yeah, you should move into claim. I think limestone is fine. I think the zebra would be okay. The zebra gives me furs. And that will be useful, especially since I have the weaving industry. All right. The watchtower is built. And we are building one archer. I'm going to definitely build a war elephant. The war elephant qualifies as a melee. So spearman and another set of archers, war elephant and spearman. Yeah. Tribe joined, Compton. Okay, that's good. Okay, you need to come back. How many units? There are like 5 different things in here. So, okay, you come down here. You come down here. And the rest of you go to the capital and heal. Yeah, the next turn the war is over. And someone is already in the Iron Age. We are 6 turns away from being in the Iron Age, so we are not far behind here. And that's good. Okay. Let's grab this tile here. The cattle might be useful. And I think... So a couple of options here. I want the city... The grain store is strong. It's another amenity that helps your city grow faster. And I think I'm going to plug that one here. And the other cities, yeah, they should start using grain stores too. Okay. Yeah, looks like Mexico is... yeah, let's see. War 1. We defeated 5 of his forces. That's excellent. And I didn't lose any, which is actually very, very good. Let's see what it does to my prestige standings. 685, which is good. Defeated units, pretty strong. Standing army is okay. Build improvement, that's for the watchtower. Wars 140. Okay, that's good. And where are we overall? I think we are not last. We are not last. That's good. And actually we are within shooting distance of Oshtish, who was first. I think if we get the wonder, I think we'll be fine. And we founded a religion. Okay, I've been at this for God knows how long, but I've been mostly talking through stuff here. Actually, I hoped that it would not take me this long to play through Act 1. Usually when I'm on my own and I'm just playing through the game, usually it takes me about an hour and a half to get through a single act. Longer if I'm thinking through some choices, but I'm going to call it an end at this point. Take a break here. I will play through and kind of see where this game goes, and I will definitely put those videos out. The only caveat I'll add to that is if the build changes or if there is a patch update that goes out, that's the only situation where I will not continue on with this game. Probably end up starting a new game and we'll continue with that. Yeah, I mean, since the 2.0 release, I've been on one hand playing some games, trying to understand what's changed, trying to kind of unlearn and relearn everything. But I did see some patches, builds were changing, and the build that came out with the patch 2.0 release wasn't the build that I was playing. I was trying to make videos of. So yeah, I waited for a week before I decided to start on this video, and I don't think there have been no patch changes, thankfully, or build changes, and just so because I don't want to put something out and kind of get deprecated. The last video, the Alexander video, is there. It's a fun video to watch, I guess, but What happens with that is if you base your gameplay based on feedback from that game, it's not going to be accurate or maybe even useful for the matter. But yeah, but that's just how I guess these things are. Thank you for watching, and yeah, tune into the next one. My apologies for waiting this long, but things were too fluid. If you have made it this far and have enjoyed this video, please leave a like, share with your friends, or consider subscribing. And if you're already subscribed, my heartfelt thanks to you. Thank you.